ambassador for the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation, and we pride ourselves, Dana and Christopher when they were alive, and still today in spirit pride themselves on today's care and tomorrow's cure. Now, when we talk about today's care, we're talking about quality of life issues, and I can tell you that this film, this documentary, this masterpiece just really personifies that. So being someone in a chair myself, having played wheelchair basketball for 7 years, but also doing what I can for the last 31 years of trying to live my life to the fullest. This has inspired me, this has motivated me, but as I always share is that motivation is great, inspiration is great, but it's got to translate to action out there. And I think that you've ignited a lot of action inside of a lot of people here today, not only us with disabilities, but those who don't have a disability right now. And personally, I want to thank you. I have to believe, though, starting with Shaina here, is that, you know what inspired you? What motivated you to do a movie, to do a documentary like this?
Thank you for all your kind words. That means a lot coming from you, so thank you. So when I first heard about this story, it actually started as a nonprofit promotional video. I was a new, recent graduate from college who had just moved down to Miami. Michael, my boyfriend, my partner, he volunteered me as a freelance videographer to go out and film this story about this struggling wheelchair basketball team. So I went in with no experience, no friends in wheelchairs, no experience with the disability community at all, and had these preconceived notions of what I thought wheelchair basketball was going to be like, and I was completely wrong. So right off the bat, I loved the sport, and then I learned that you could get a college scholarship to go play, and it just kind of snowballed from there. We kept on learning more and more about the sport and about these guys' lives, and we became really good friends with Mario and Jeremy and Orlando. And knew that we had to share this with the world because it inspired us so much and made us realize that our perceptions that we had before were not right. And we wanted to do something about that.
So wait a minute, you made this work as boyfriend and girlfriend?
We did, yeah.
Somehow.
That's amazing. That's amazing. See, I was going to ask you about the challenges, but I was going to ask about the relationship if you had any challenges working together, but that's a whole nother documentary we could talk about. What were some of, knowing full well, again, it was really your first exposure to people with disabilities on this level, what were some of the challenges that came up for you that you experienced in putting this together? Because, again, we talk about a little bit over an hour documentary, but the hours of footage and everything and trying to crystallize it. What were some of the challenges that surfaced for you, and how did you rectify those?
The challenges were countless. We had never made a feature film before. Anything from 0 to 20 minutes we could handle, but thinking about even conceptualizing the fact that this could be a feature film didn't happen overnight. That actually happened probably about a year in. We thought we were still making a promotional video for this nonprofit for about a year. It was when we started traveling with the team that we realized that the experiences that the Miami Heat Wheels have are not isolated. They're experienced by programs all over the country and all over the world. So can we use our skill sets and the time that we've invested so far to help translate that story to a more universal audience and help share some of those experiences? In terms of actually coming into the disability community with really no experience, we're not taught as young people about disability. We're taught not to point, not to ask questions. Our curiosity is stifled. So I think breaking beyond that level of comfort that we're used to, staying inside of our own bubble, not talking to people who are maybe different than us or from a different background than us, was the first and most immediate challenge. And I remember coming into the gym, having some of these preconceived notions of what it might be. Being an athlete all my life, immediately I saw the 15 players out on the court as some of the same people that I had played sports with all my life, just in a different kind of context. And so that was one of the immediate things that really, I felt uncomfortable coming into the room. Like, are they judging me? Like, coming in, walking around with the camera, like, they're thinking, who's this guy? And they probably did for a little while, but.
Wait. First impressions of Mario. Let's start with Shaina real quick. First impressions of Mario. Is this Super Mario? Is this the Super Mario?
He's pretty incredible. The first time I met Mario, he almost ran me over on the court, and he wasn't sorry.
Does that surprise anybody in here?
He wasn't sorry. He yelled at me for being in his way. So
And mine, there's actually a photo of this. Mario shared it with me the other day. We were traveling for a tournament. It was my first experience with the guys. And we're sitting around a lunch table, and it's actually where you see them rapping before the tournament. And I'm sitting there like, what did I get myself into? But it ended up working out really, really well.
I love it. I love it. Mario.
Yes, sir.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, thank God.
We just met today. I feel like he's my long-lost brother. We got a lot catching up to do.
Yes, sir.
First and foremost, though, did you really put your sister in a dryer?
Yeah. I wouldn't
You
turn
really
it on.
did that growing up?
I did not turn it on.
You didn't? Okay.
No.
Woo. I heard that. I was like, did I just hear that correctly? Now, Mar, I know you've seen this documentary, and I'm sure that it really tugs at your heartstrings every time you see it. But the first time when you saw this all put together, I don't know where you were. If you can just bring that back, whenever that moment was when you first watched this, when it was put all together, and what those feelings and emotions were like for you when you first saw it.
It was definitely overwhelming, mixed emotions. But at the same time, after seeing the film and knowing what I've been through and overcoming all the challenges and all the no's I heard, and to see where I was at one point in my life, so low, so low, so low, I like to word it as I was oil bottom low. And to come back from Arizona to fly into Miami to the Miami Film Festival, that was special. I was proud of myself. But at the same time, I was still unsatisfied because I'm still hungry. I'm still striving to be better than I was yesterday. And I was just a blessing to have Mike and Shaina in my life. I was just part of what they did with all the footage because they have a lot of footage. I feel like they left like so many different parts of this film that they could make a part 2. Just with the same story.
I want to see the blooper video. You have a blooper video? Because I know there's a lot of bloopers that go along with these guys.
Can I add to that?
Please, please.
So the first time we showed the film to Mario actually was in Tucson, Arizona, in a private theater at our friend's apartment complex. They had a theater there, and it was awesome to share it with him. But I was so nervous to share it with Mario because he opened up so much to us, and that was not easy. It took a long time for you to really let us into your life, and I'm very appreciative to you because I think that the amount of people's lives who are going to be impacted by this it's so many. And it's really powerful. But when I first showed it to him, I'm sitting in the theater at the top, watching him watch it like this. I'm just like, oh my gosh, is he gonna like it? Is he gonna feel way too vulnerable? But more power to you because you really embraced it. And I know it does bring up some emotions, but it's awesome.
Thank you.
I love it. Now, Mario, we have, again, people with disabilities in the audience today and people who don't have disabilities, is that, we can all leave here feel motivated, inspired. I'm definitely one of them. But what's one of those things? Because again, like all of us, I know, and you talked about it in the film, is that you have those down moments. You have those challenging moments. What's some advice that you can give our audience today, again, with and without disabilities, that they can really apply to their lives when those moments, those challenging moments that we live with on a daily basis, maybe we don't feel like moving on, maybe it's just a real dark place. We all experience those. You're not exposed to that. I mean, everyone's exposed to that, including yourself. What do you do yourself that they might be able to apply to their lives today?
What I tell people, when I found out the power of believing in myself was the night I got shot. The night I got shot, I told myself if I close my eyes, I'm gonna die. And I remember telling myself, break down a breath to 3 and just don't close your eyes. So I started believing in myself that I'm gonna survive, I'm gonna survive, I'm gonna survive. So when we all face these moments, I like to call them weak moments. We're gonna all face a weak moment. Maybe every day, or eventually you will face another weak moment. But you need to realize that's a weak moment you're facing. That's the moment. That moment does not define who you are. It doesn't. And just remember, you have made it this far. You probably got some loved ones in your life that's going through things and they're fighting. They're looking up to you. So for me, it's about what I've been through. I've been through so much, and I know I got so much more to go through. But I'm willing to embrace it and be ready for it. As long as my heart's beating, I'm gonna fight. I'm gonna rise. I'm gonna shine. I'm gonna grind. As long as my heart's beating, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. There's no point blank, and everybody should feel the same way. Thank you.
I love that. I love that. Christopher, how are you?
Good, good. Thanks
Now-
for having me on the panel with this He's a Superstar movie.
Absolutely, but we got to tell everyone, Christopher's from the New York area. He's actually still plays with the New York Rolling Knicks team.
No, I'm currently retired.
You're currently no. We're gonna. You're not. You don't want to come out of retirement after seeing that? Come on.
No, to give you honestly, Scott, after seeing the movie, I actually had a sneak preview on Friday, so I actually saw the movie beforehand, and it kind of did inspire me to get back out there. Because after the Knicks, I also played with the New York Nets team. So I stopped playing a year and a half, 2 years ago. But this movie kind of motivated me to get back out there, just because everything, the way, I got to give you guys a lot of props. The way you captured everything is almost how it is when you're on a wheelchair basketball, or any team for that matter. But the thing is, when you're on a wheelchair basketball team and kind of everyone's going through something that's almost the same, like, you know, it's kind of like a brotherhood. And when you travel and go on road trips and etc., it's like you bond even more. So I think the film definitely captured that, you know, and it kind of brought me back to those memories like, wow, like, you know, I kind of was like, let me get more career focused, but now I'm thinking of doing this as a side hobby again, you know, getting back into the grind of it.
I like it.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the actual able-bodied Nets could use you. I mean, I think you should actually try out for them. And no disrespect,
lying.
just being honest, folks, just being honest. Now, knowing full well, one of the challenges that they faced were raising money. And a lot of organizations can say that. What's something here, because I know with the Parks and Recreations Department, what is one of those things that maybe you can suggest to anyone out there that might be thinking of forming an organization, whether it be basketball or another sport, in which they could maybe raise some funds that are needed?
Well, it all comes down to fundraising. I'm not sure if people know, but in the New York City area, we have the New York Rolling Knicks, who are the top-ranked team, I believe, in the country. We have the Nassau Kings, who are the top-ranked country in Long Island for D2 teams. Wow. And we also have the Brooklyn Nets and the New York Nets. We have a junior Nets team. We have a women's wheelchair basketball team, the Liberty. We have another team that's coming up called Team Access, Project Access. So the New York City area, it's like, you know, you always consider this a basketball haven. Now it's going to be a wheelchair basketball haven. So what I would suggest, and what I'm seeing other teams do, if they're not sponsored by, say, one of the professional teams, such as the New York Knicks sponsor the Rolling Knicks. You know, a lot of times the professional teams give down to the wheelchair basketball teams in terms of donations, but it's all about fundraising. It's all about, like those guys did with the car wash. Sometimes it's about fundraising and having the community just give back. And I think people appreciate it when you actually show that you're trying to raise money so that you can fund a wheelchair basketball team to travel around the country and play for a championship. I think they really get it for people who do fundraise and give to the fundraisers. So I've seen that, especially with the New York Nets team. You know, we had the courtesy of having the Wheelchair Sports Federation, which is a local not-for-profit. And they've done a number of fundraising efforts to help the local team. So it really comes down to just getting out there, getting into the community, and having people feel your dream, you know, and make it a reality.
I love it. I love it. Now, I want to, and I wasn't advised, I'd love to take some questions from the audience. Can we do that for a moment, if anybody had any questions? Before I ask my last question of our panel.
We have
Up
a
here?
mic here.
Yes. If you could just speak up.
We have a mic going around.
Or, here we go.
Well, thank you for a wonderful film, and which has a wonderful heart to it at its center. And in that regard, I wanted to ask Mario, you went through what seemed to this viewer a transformative moment when you reunited with your family. And how did that impact you within the game and going forward after you experienced that reunion?
It definitely it healed some scars. I got some closure just to be able to piece everything out, even though there was no problems between me and my family. But just the fact that we did not speak as much, I kind of disconnect myself. I was the one that disconnected myself once I moved to Miami, having issues, personal issues, family issues, and just battling to become better than I was yesterday and where I was at one point in my life. That helped me a lot. That just gave me a peace of mind. It was a major turning point. It was a major turning point in my life. And I use it for I just use it for the best. I just use it to just keep on rising, and I brought that energy to the team, and I kept on training, and I kept on working, and I kept on bettering myself on and off the court. Not only for myself, but for my family and my supporters and everybody that follows the movement.
It's kind of like Hamilton, is that everything happens in Jersey. Being a fellow Jersey boy, and a lot of closure there. That's wonderful. Any other questions? Yes.
Mario, thank you for from a concussion when you fall in the game to all your friends.
You're asking if we get concussions once we fall off the chair, if I'm correct? Yeah, oh yeah, you could get a concussion. I'm pretty sure I probably have suffered a minor concussion, but me being tough-skinned and, a Jersey boy, I just said, I'm all right, I'm good, I'm ready to go, I'll be okay. But yeah, you could definitely suffer a concussion. And just the other day, I was in San Diego, we were playing the Golden State Warriors. And there's a real, D1 now where I'm on a higher level, and I'm pushing, and some guy trips on one of my teammates. He's flying. As I'm pushing right behind him, I see everything happen, because everything happens, but you kind of slow motion the moment. It's just one of the laws in this movement. And well, in my case, I saw it happening, but I was able to slow motion the moment. So as I moved to the side, he fell right on my push rim and cracked his head wide open. He got stitches, blood all over. So yeah, you could get concussion. Oh, yeah.
But I don't want that to keep you from playing wheelchair basketball.
You
I'm not
should
trying to
still
scare
play.
you. I ain't trying to scare you. You can put a helmet if you want to play with a helmet.
Mario, before I forget, you're in Arizona now. And
Yes,
you
sir.
have one of your teammates who's in Dallas with the Mavericks, correct?
No, Orlando's playing with UT. Yeah, the moving Mavs. Yeah,
The moving Mavericks,
Yeah,
sorry.
Mavericks, but it's the college Mavericks,
In
not
college,
the Dallas.
exactly. You guys all kind of still keep in touch and still keep that unit together?
Oh, yeah. Besides the fact that we're part of a great movement and a great team, we have weekly meetings all together. But we send texts to each other. We support each other through social media. We drop a comment or something, too, depending on what we post, if we like it or we don't like it. But, yeah, we're connected. We're all still connected. Not daily, but we're connected.
Love it.
Thursday, 10:30 p.m. or a.m.
Tuesday and Thursday.
Every week, we talk to all of them.
Every week. Wow, that's amazing. I love that. I love that. Any other questions or? Oh, okay. Well, you know what we'll do? I'm going to go down real quick with our panel up here, and I'd love to ask the question. I was talking a little bit with Shaina before the movie, and then I asked her, I was like, so what's next? I was like, do you build upon this? Do you still want to do work with people with disabilities? Is there another level? And you could share what you shared.
Yeah, so most people make a film and they sort of let it go off into the world, into distribution. We've been working on this film for almost 5 years now, and we are just about to launch our screening tour, where we're going to bring the film to 500 communities, schools, anywhere you can really show a film. We're going to bring it to 500 places this year. So that is our goal. Mike is our producer, so he's much better at talking about this than I am. So I'm going to let him talk about it.
No, he's supposed to defer to you. Okay. We're in a professional sense now. I got it.
I'm creative.
The final call always goes back to Shaina.
Good answer.
But really, you have a film like this, and it's great when as many people as possible get to see it. I think one of the most powerful things that happens from our experience over the past 11 months sharing the film is when you get a room full of people like this. The conversations that happen, what people are able to talk about when they leave into the lobby and go back to their lives, it creates a much more of an experience than simply just watching it at home. So that is really, our strategy is to take it into communities and allow it to be a bridge between a community that may not be as well known or maybe sometimes overlooked versus their able-bodied counterparts. To change perceptions, to obviously motivate people to get out and live a more active lifestyle and really embrace their challenges. In addition to that, we're developing our social action campaign, which is going to have actionable steps that people can take once they leave the theater. Because people are motivated. You might be wondering how you can support your team. Well, every team in the NWBA needs money. You know, as a film team, you know, we struggle with resources. Like, there are actionable steps that you can do. If you want to go join an organization, how can you find one? So we're developing all of those resources now, and happy to say at the end of this month, we'll be launching that official screening tour in the social action campaign, and that will be the start to our distribution. Ideally, what we're looking to do is get the film on Netflix or a broadcast network to be able to expose it to a more mainstream audience in a very wide scale.
Love it, love it. Mario, I'm going to modify your question a little bit. What's next? Something tells me you got a bucket list. What's next and outrageous that's on your bucket list that you would love to check off here in 2017?
2017, that's definitely bring a national championship to University of Arizona. I'm working with a group of my team over there. I'm making them all believers.
You got the recipe, I think.
Oh yeah, okay. I do. I ain't trying to come off cocky, and I'm big on the power of visualization. I'm big on making people believe. Seeing it before it even happens, achieving it before you even touch it. Because that's something I believe in since I was a kid, and I know is a true law. It's a true law. So it works because it worked in Miami. It took me 4 years to get the title to Miami, to get them to believe. So one of my bucket lists for 2017 is definitely to bring a title to Tucson, Arizona. But it's also just to be a part of this great movement. It chose me. I thank them for picking my story. They could have picked so many other guys. I don't know why me. But it's like a snowball effect. It's going to keep on growing and growing and growing on the momentum. So it's all about being prepared. I tell them every time, it's better to be prepared for an opportunity you may not face than to face the opportunity and not be prepared. So I'm just ready. I'm just ready for whatever comes my way. I really am. I really am. And I want to first just say thank God for everything that has happened, because without him, ain't nothing possible.
Awesome, awesome. Before we get to Christopher's, I just want to challenge each one of you is to maybe 5, 10 people. Please tell about this film. Please tell how much it moved you, impacted you. That's how movements begin. That's how we're going to help them realize their dream of getting it on Netflix and everything. So tell people, just don't leave here and feel good about yourself. Share it with other people.
Thank you.
But Christopher, please.
When you leave, we have 2 great members of our team, Evan and Christina.
Christina's holding a camera over there.
They're going to be available afterwards. We have postcards that you can take away. If you want to learn more about the film, you can visit our website, and you can also take those postcards and the information and share it with your community. So we invite you to come talk to us, come talk to Evan, Christina, any of us after the screening. If you have any ideas, please bring them to the table, because this is about community at the end of the day.
And they got great T-shirts and everything out there, so yeah, absolutely. Christopher, what's next for you?
Well, as most, not everyone, this is a new audience, even though we're in New York, but I work for New York City Parks, and I'm the accessibility coordinator, so it's part of my job to set up programming within our rec centers. So we do have wheelchair basketball going on in Brooklyn, Queens, and the Bronx, and Manhattan. So if you go to our website, nyc.gov/parks, and on the top of the screen, you'll see the little accessibility symbol. Just click that, you'll go to our calendar. If you know of any children, teens, or adults that are interested in learning about wheelchair basketball, you can attend any of them. Our membership is free for children under 17. From 17 to 24, it's $25. 25 and up, it's $25 as well. If you obviously have some form of verification of a disability, such as a half-fare Metro card, Access-a-Ride card, etc. But in working with Commissioner Khaleesi for the Mayor's Office of Persons with Disabilities, we wanted to lower that membership cost so that we'd get more persons with disabilities into our gyms. Because that's the thing, to go back to a question that was asked to Mario, in terms of a person when they're at their low, what to do to get out of it. The one thing I say is, get out of that space you're in. Get outside, do something different. If you just stay inside, those thoughts or whatever you're going through are just gonna fester and grow. So the one thing we wanna do, especially with parks, is get people outside. You know, go to our gyms, work out. We have tons of accessible equipment. But the key thing is we have tons of adaptive sports going on, especially wheelchair basketball. So I would encourage, if you know any children, it doesn't matter the disability type, have them come out, have them seeing other persons with disabilities play and compete, and they'll get a lot out of it, you know, right here in New York City.
Can I add on to that real quick? Because you're right, you got to get out. You got to get out. And the few friends I have met that are in the same situation, every time I visit them and they don't want to go out, they got the room just dark and the shades just closed. Open your window. Let that light shine into your room. If you don't want to go out, all right, don't go out. But start by opening up your shades and let the light shine a little bit. that will help a little bit. I mean, I just want to add on to that.
I think there should be like a Mario hotline that you just call and you feel that lightning rod. I want a little patent on that, a little dibs on that.
He makes a lot of videos every day. He
I
puts out a
bet you he
video.
does. He's always busy. Ladies and gentlemen, can we give one last of applause for our panel and also the Rebound? Wonderful.
Thank you. And I want to give a big thank you to Scott, of course, and for all of you for being here. Of course, Mario, you could buy his magnets and get, all of his slogans there. I think that's a
Good idea.
There's a good business.
Magnets, yeah.
This is really a great film, great conversation, and there's a lot more coming up. 4 p.m. we